I'm Keely Eure here with Shotgun Spratling for your big game preview. Now, Shotgun, it's officially time for March Madness, and USC officially has its opponent as of Thursday night. We heard Andy Enfield say that they were preparing for two opponents. Now USC knows that they can prepare for Drake. What did Drake do in order to advance to this next round?
Yeah, they were able to pull a little USC magic out, actually. They fell behind. They were a little sluggish to start the game against Wichita State, had a double-digit deficit in the first half. They'd only scored 11 points through the first 16 minutes of the game, turned it on, went on a 10-0 run at the end of the half, got themselves back in the game, fell behind again early in the second half, but kept battling, were able to, play enough defense and get a couple big baskets from Joe Yusufu down the stretch, and were able to pull out a 1-point victory over the Shockers to advance to now play USC. I think actually USC probably would have matched up a little bit better with Wichita State. Will be some interesting dynamics in this from the Drake offense that USC will have to contend with, but we'll see how USC can contend with the Bulldogs and what they're able to bring to the table, and especially Yusufu, who went for 21 points again today. He's averaging 23 points over his last 8 games, a guy that kind of stepped up because they had some injuries. He's been a guy that's been really big for him, so USC is going to have to shut him down. That's going to be the first key for the Trojans in this one.
Now, before we dive into the game-specific, Shotgun, I'm just curious about USC's preparation. They were prepping for two teams, as we know. Thursday night, they did get confirmation they'll play Drake. What does that mean for the next 24 hours for the Trojans?
I mean, the biggest thing is that now you know who you're playing. So you've got a scouting report already on both teams. You've started out, a different coach will take each team, a different assistant. Now you focus in and you implement that game plan on the practice court instead of splitting time. And maybe we'll see some of this from both teams. You really focus in on their particular plays, what they do well, and try to start, figuring out ways to take that away in practice. So that's going to be the biggest thing there. This is a situation that going into the NCAA tournament, every team that isn't playing a first four, the other 60 teams that are playing already know their opponent from Sunday. They have set up and they have someone working on the game plan for their first round game, but they also have an assistant coach working on, you have 2 different assistant coaches working on the game plans for the potential round of 32 teams they could play. So this USC's is just expedited. They pushed that forward. They were already looking ahead for, who they could potentially play, but also that first 4 opponent. So they've had to split up, what they were doing for that first game. They don't have 5 days to prepare for. It's just a 48-hour turnaround, a 36-hour turnaround, to be honest. So they probably got a little bit of, if they got a late practice in on Friday or Thursday, they were able to put a little bit in then. And then on Friday's practice, they'll be able to fully implement it and then, try to start taking away the strengths that Drake has.
Now, as far as Drake goes, one of the main storylines that have followed them so far is injuries. It seems like they're not at 100%, right, Shotgun?
Yeah, definitely. They lost their point guard, Roman Penn, to a season-ending foot injury, which is a huge loss for them because he was top 20 in assists. He doesn't turn the ball over, and he had been terrific for them. But that's how Joe Yusufu kind of stepped up. They were without Roman Penn, but they also lost Shanquan Hemphill, who had been out for a little bit over a month now with a foot injury as well. He actually returned in their opening round matchup against Wichita State. He only played 10 minutes, didn't have a huge impact, but getting him back is just a boost for them, just adds another veteran body that they can add to the rotation because they have a pretty thin rotation. They're starting 4 guards, they're guys that, are playing on the perimeter. Those guys have been playing 38 to 40 minutes a game, basically. They've been in there, the entire game. And maybe you see a little bit of effect of a wear down at the end of the season. They lost 2 of their last 3 games heading into the tournament. So, they weren't coming in firing on all cylinders, but Hemphill coming back adds a little bit extra depth for them. Now, he didn't play much in this game and he didn't have a big impact, but he's a guy that can really impact things for them and really gives them some juice coming off the bench if he can score a couple baskets for them. He was averaging 14 points and 6 rebounds, leading the team after Penn went down. He was their go-to guy. So now they get him back. How much is he going to be available 2 days later after his first game? I don't think he's going to play a ton, but I think the energy boost and just having him back can be a big thing for the team as well.
Now, one of the things we're going to be watching for is how Drake is going to be able to score against USC, particularly within the 3-point line. That seems like a good versus good matchup, right, Shotgun?
Yeah, definitely. Drake comes in and they're one of the top shooting teams in the country. They shoot 49% from the field, which is 12th in the nation entering the tournament. And they do that by shooting it from 2-point range. They make 54% of their 2-point shots, which is top 30 in the nation. USC is actually second in the nation in 2-point defense. So it's going to be a battle of can Drake find ways to create their own shots against the length that USC has. That's something they haven't seen. They haven't seen a team like USC with the length and size combination that the Trojans have. So I think it's going to affect the Bulldogs and their attempts to get in the lane and shoot. You're going to have to face Evan Mobley. You got Isaiah Mobley, but you also have the length of guys like Max Agmont-Polo. You have the physicality of Ethan Anderson. I think it's a unique defense for teams to have to adjust to on one day of preparation like Drake is going to have to do. So I think USC has a big advantage there, but we'll see how Drake can get to the rim if they can create and get some of those easy shots. They didn't shoot very well against Wichita State, and that's why they fell behind so much early. They finished shooting 37% for the game. Yusufu scored 21 points, but it took him 21 shots. So their primary guys that were scoring for them, it took them a lot of shots to get the points that they had.
Now, on the flip side of things, where should USC look to be attacking Drake on offense?
I think USC has to go inside. Now, it's not just, hey, Evan Mobley is the best player. You need him to get the ball. They don't have anyone that can stop Evan Mobley. Most teams don't, but particularly Drake. They have one other guy that is 6'10" now. Darnell Brody is a transfer from Seton Hall. He's played major conference basketball before, but he's 6'10" and 275, I believe, is what he weighs in. So he'll give USC some difficulties with his size, but he really struggled against Wichita State. Their top power forward, Morris Udeze, was like 6'8", but he was much quicker than Brody, and Brody got in foul trouble trying to defend him. And that's where, Udeze scored 22 points in that game. I think Evan Mobley, Isaiah Mobley should be able to really pound the ball down low. Chavez Goodwin as well. They have Brody, but then the only other player they have, I think they have Samaki, who's 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", somewhere in there. But that's their two bigs. They don't really play anyone else that has any size. So if USC can defend their smaller guards, they should have a big advantage down low. They got to take advantage of that. I think you attack Brody early, you get him in foul trouble, and then no one's going to be able to stop Evan Mobley down low.
Alrighty, Shotgun, how do you think this one's going to go on Saturday?
Like I said, I don't think Drake has seen anyone with the size and length combination that USC has, and the fact that they're having 24 hours basically to prepare for USC after winning their game, I think it's a big advantage for USC there. And same thing if USC advances to the round of 32, whoever they play, I don't think that they've seen that combination the same way that USC can present. So I think it's a big advantage the second game of a weekend, and the fact they get a first four team, I think that plays into their advantage there. And with the fact that they don't have size, Drake. They just don't have size down low. So USC should be able to take advantage of that. If they do those two things, and hey, if they make a couple free throws, we saw them post on social media to let fans know that they are shooting those, then they should be able to kind of pull away in this game, I think. USC's offense always comes down to, hey, if they're making some shots outside, it changes everything. Drake may try to pack everything in down low, but if USC makes some shots, it opens everything right back up. But I just don't think that they're going to be able to defend down low against a guy like Evan Mobley. We'll see what they try to do, if they try to do something unique or not. But I think USC should be able to win this one and pull away a little bit, maybe rest some guys. That would be really key for them. It's not necessarily in the nature of how USC's played the last couple of weeks, but don't forget that USC has had, their margin of victory was one of their best that they've had in recent years because they've blown some teams out earlier this season. So I think that's something that they could potentially do against Drake. But hey, it's March. Anything can happen.
It's madness, Shotgun. Alrighty, that's going to wrap it up for the big game preview. Be sure to check out the game 1:30 on Saturday on TNT. For Shotgun Spratling, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out uscfootball.com.